Thank you very much, D-Man. A good start to the series for OMG. I'll ask the desk later if it's the same level of dominance as white versus blue game one yesterday, but that's at the end. I first want to ask Doublelift, you're the only one that had faith in Royal Club along with 50% of our viewers. What went wrong for your team, dude?
Holy crap, everything went wrong.
Yeah.
Starting from level 1, right, they did that 4-minute standoff, and the waves actually, the camera didn't really show it, but the waves were all pushing in for OMG, which is really good in a lane swap situation because you saw Rumble got to get XP for free, where Aurelia had to go down that dangerous lane, and it didn't end up working. She got absolutely screwed in the early game, and that just kind of snowballed.
Yeah, and we actually do have a replay of that. I'm going to talk a little bit about that because we haven't had an instructional rotational video.
Monte Cristo.
That's right, rotations with your host, Monte Cristo. So this is immediately after that blue buff standoff. So we're looking at about 3 minutes here, obviously a very delayed situation. So when we roll the clip, we're going to see that both of these lanes ended up pushing in OMG's favor. Now, in a normal situation, OMG would want the 2v2 and the 1v1, but they see an opportunity to get going some immediate experience and really get him that advantage. So as he goes up into that top side, the lane is pushing towards him. Uzi's going to have no choice but to give him a big wave. Now, bottom side, if we look at where the jungle is right now, they decided to go from blue to red, Starhorn Royal. And instead, what they should have done is gone blue to blue. But OMG makes the right call here. They send their dual lane into the bottom side. So if they try and contest that blue, if they do go to red, they will have more people on that side of the map. And then it'll be the defense of the blue will be quite easy. So very, very good play from OMG, a reaction. And it was on the fly because they wanted the 2v2 initially. They wanted the 1v1. Adaptive play was awesome there.
Yeah, it absolutely screwed Royal Club when their dual lane stayed top lane after their blue had been taken. If they rotated their bottom lane down towards the bottom side of the map, they could take the enemy blue and Insec wouldn't have been screwed early game. But what ended up happening was Insec got one buffed. Cola got absolutely put super far behind, and because of that, Uzi and Zero had to lane swap into that lane in an unfavorable matchup, so 4 people ended up behind just because of a poor level 1.
Yeah, and in addition to that, Zilean just doesn't play out well in a lane swap. I really agree with what Colby said on the desk there right after the game. Zilean Tristana is such a wonky lane to play in because 2v2, if you get outpicked, you'll lose, and if you end up playing a 2v1, Tristana can't skill her E ability because she'll push the wave, so the enemy top laner will get more farm. Zilean doesn't roam all that well. He needs at least level 4 and a tier before he can actually start moving around the map. And then short, speaking about that tier, I think Zero should have went for tier into CDR boots at least, because if you go tier and Moby boots, it just doesn't really work out on Zilean. And we could see that he doesn't have the same level of impact in his game as, say, a Janna or a Thresh would have had. So I'm really surprised they ended up banning Janna and picking Zilean rather than just, why don't go with that comfortable Janna pick.
So, Freak, talk to me a little bit about what happened after that level 1. I know the analysts are feeling quite heavy, but it also played out individually. It felt like OMG just made more aggressive moves.
Right, so ultimately, we have a replay. It's about a 12-minute fight in the bottom lane, and the thing is about this is, number 1, Starhorn Royal Club picks this fight. Number 2, it's not the gold lead necessarily that makes a big difference here. It's actually their awareness of the situation. So things I jotted down like 17 things that happened right before this fight started. So first of all, Gogoing wouldn't even be in this fight if Explosive Shot didn't stop his recall. I timed when he tried to recall, then it got stopped, and he tried again. He wouldn't even be here if he hadn't gotten stopped by like the dot from Uzi in the first place. So that was already hilarious. But number 2, Star and Royal Club have basically they have a 3v4 ahead of them. Cola can't join them, Korn can't join them. They watched Cool Recall, they know Loveling's around, and they saw Gogoing was just here a second ago. So they could be easily walking into a 3v4, and are. On top of that, San has a BF sword and pickaxe, Uzi has a pickaxe and an Avarice Blade. So they are heavily underpowered on the map right now, and Insect's like, let's go fight a battle. So let's roll the clip out, see what happens. It's a really cool start. Zero speeds up Insect dives in. That's a really sick hook, and all this is great. And of course, they even blow up Cloud, but surprise, Gogoing's in a brush, he's burning your faces down. And by the way, he's also hit hunting, guys, so off that lane swap point, he actually managed to earn that 1,500 gold for this one. Pretty quick kill traits here. This is good by San, though. He ends his ulti really quickly after realizing he's killed Insect, and then keeps going. Gogoing then also does a really good job with turret aggro. He's got no cooldowns up, so he just walks right back. Then goes in when he can cast spells one more time, walks right back out with a cooldown. So good turret juggling, good fight awareness, but a really silly engage by Royal Club.
From there on out, OMG just found opportunities to find kills. They completely arrested control of the game. I've got a question to Doublelift and Crepo. How important is the opening, let's say 6 minutes of the game and then that 10-minute tower dive to avoid Royal Club getting sunk in game 2. Double Lift, you're grinning a little bit. What do you think?
I think it's so funny because after watching this, I realize now Royal Club is probably the most tempo-based team, and if they get behind early, they have absolutely no idea how to play. So I fully expect them to have their coach kind of dictate a better, safer early game so that they don't fall behind and just run headfirst in these fights that, like Freak said, are impossible to win. There's everything going against you, but they don't have the situational awareness to know it.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate that one, Korn is underplaying. He normally holds up much better in the Chinese matches. But two, there have been some Royal Club comebacks. Went back and watched the games. There's one where they were down like 8K, but it was Uzi's Kog'Maw, and they just like found a good pick. I think they do keep picking late game AD carries because they can win those miracle fights. Just be smarter about your mid games. Be smarter about your engages. Honestly, just don't pick Trist anymore in this matchup because you're going to get rolled over in 18 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really think it all depends on what composition you want to run, of course. Like, I like to see Uzi go back a little more towards the early game because he needs to get that mark going.
He does that.
Yeah.
He's okay
in certain lanes. With certain picks, actually, I agree there. If you get Kog'Maw going. But I prefer something mobile on Uzi because you'll see where he changes himself from an average or a great AD carry to the absolute best is the way he uses gap closers offensively, in which any situation, any other AD carry or analyst go like, hey, what's he doing?
Or ambush as well, like his use of stealth also.
Yep.
So last thoughts here, Double Lift, before we move on.
I just want to point out how useless I feel Zilean has been throughout this entire tournament. I mean, we saw Hart try to play it, missed every ulti, was completely ineffective against White, which was a one-sided game. But this game as well, Zilean just seems so weak. People are not so stupid to fall for that EXP lead where the solo lanes get the EXP, get the level first, then all in. People aren't falling for that anymore. Zilean just doesn't seem to be as good as any of the other supports, and I don't want to see Zero play it ever again. It was horrible.
And honestly, to continue that point, we have these heavily contested top laners like Maokai and Alistair. By the way, I haven't seen going win an Alistair game in Chinese playoffs or in regionals. He's like 0-5 on the champion, and yet, it's the first ban coming out here from Star and Royal Club. They're repeatedly doing this, whereas you attack Insect's pool and he's gone.
Well, I hate to cut you off. We do need to roll this one on, guys. Take a short break. When we return, we'll see how Starhorn Royal Club will respond to OMG's dominant Game 1 victory. Guys, stay with us. We'll keep the conversation going.
Insect's gonna go down, Zero in trouble. They're gonna keep on diving the turret, but Uzi's still fighting back. He will go down. It's a double percent.
Oh, they've thrown the shot. They've thrown the hook from Korn. And from Cloud will follow through. Korn is going to get blown to pieces. He's going to come back. But will he get away from it? Going in the face. There is Azokius down. Kohler takes a bit of damage there.